This video isn't just going to be your typical, oh, Argentina is so European, or, oh, they love mate and they love soccer or football. You guys have heard all of that before. This video is going to be a little bit more unique. These are things that you only really get from being deep within the culture, hanging with the locals, and just being fully immersed in the experiences here in Argentina. So guys, the people here love to be on camera. If you guys are familiar with my channel, you know that I vlog on the streets all the time. And what amazes me is that the people don't shy away from the camera. They actually embrace it and they love to be on camera. And here's some proof.
We got friendly people, always happy to be on camera.
Tengo show, guys, today, 4:30.
I'm still the same.
Argentina.
Hey!
This onion is good.
And I think this stems from people just being more warm and open towards each other. They're not so uptight like the people back home in North America are. There's no Karens running around in the streets making sure that you're following every single rule, or running up to you and saying, hey, I don't want to be filmed, turn off your camera. You know what? Here, I've actually had one guy come up to me and tell me that he wants me to delete the footage because he was in the background. The guy said that to me in perfect English. He was not Argentinian. Moving on to number 2 is Coca-Cola here is king. You see Coca-Cola here as much as you see water. Everywhere you look, you can see somebody drinking Coca-Cola, typically from one of the big gallon bottles. And if it's not Coke, then it might be Sprite, then it might be Pomelo, Pop, soda, Cashiers, whatever you want to call it, is just very, very common to drink here. I guess it's just less demonized like it is back home. Like back home, you usually feel bad when you're drinking Coke. You know you're doing something wrong, so you try to avoid it. But I'm sure that the people here know that it's not a good thing to drink, but I think it's just so ingrained in the culture that they don't even bat a second eye. They don't give it a second look. They drink their Coke just like everybody else does. And another bonus point here is that smoking cigarettes is quite normal, where back home, this has been quite demonized in North America, but this is only a bonus point because I know in Europe it's pretty common as well. So number 3 is that cops are everywhere, but they're not annoying. Here, there's cops everywhere, stationed at every corner. You can't go 5 minutes without a cop car driving past you on the road. But here it's actually a nice thing to see cops everywhere because they make you feel safe. They make you feel like the area that you're in is protected. Given that we're in South America and the risk of danger is a lot higher versus where I'm from in Canada, I actually feel like, okay, when I see a cop, they're not out to get me. They're actually here to protect me. And because back home in Canada, we're more blessed with safety, obviously. The cops don't take so much of a protective role, but it feels like they're more out to get you. Whether you're driving 1 kilometer over the speed limit, or if your left pinky toe is touching a public road while you have a drink in your hand, they're on you, they're gonna get you. Now, I'm not saying this to say anything bad about the cops back home. I'm very happy that Canada is safe, and it is because it's enforced by the cops, but it's just the feeling that surrounds them. Here, you see a cop and you're thinking, okay, good, they're here to protect me. Back home, you see a cop and you're usually thinking, uh-oh, what are they gonna get me with? Number 4 is gonna be crazy cars and crazy roads. Now, this was absolutely the first immediate culture shock that I found coming into Argentina. The second I left the airport, it felt like the roads were just a free-for-all. Lanes were optional. If your car can fit in this little tiny space, your driver is going to fit in that space. Honking the horn is not frowned upon like it is back home. Seat belts are not so strictly enforced like they are back home. And motorcycles own the road. They can do whatever they want, get to the front of the line, and just get moving. It's madness, and if you are not super aware while you're driving here, who knows what's going to happen to you. All right, number 5, we're going to talk about drinking and the magical Viajeros. So speaking of cars previously, it's not atypical to bring a drink with you into the car on the way to the club. They have this magical thing, which is quite normal, called the Viajero. Now, they'll always fill this with Fernet and Coke. It's like a portable drink that you can dispose of once you actually get to the bar. Now, nobody has given me a direct answer on the legality, but drinking on the streets here seems to be perfectly fine to do. And what really boggles my mind every time is that you can take your Viajero filled with Fernet and Coke and drink it while you're in the lineup waiting to get into the bar. Guys, I cannot emphasize enough how different this is versus back home. Back home, if you're waiting in line to get into a bar, they have like paid security guards walking around smelling your breath to see if you've taken a recent sip. And if you have, if they see that you have an ounce of alcohol on you in the line, they take you into the back, into a shed, and they just execute you. Despite the exaggeration, this is so different versus back home. Number 6 is about the cashiers. Guys, when you go to the grocery stores, the big grocery stores to buy something, you need to strategically go depending on time. If you go during rush hour where everybody's at the grocery store, be ready to wait for a long, long time in the line. I don't know what it is here. Maybe it's just because of the laid-back culture, but the cashiers are in no rush. They take their sweet time. They chat. They're sitting down. There's no sense of urgency to make sure that line keeps moving. Back home, the cashiers do have a sense of urgency. If there's a big, massive line, they're on their feet. They're doing their thing, scanning back and forth. I remember being a kid and my parent would go leave to pick something else up from the store, and I'd be waiting in the line and it'd be moving and moving and moving, and eventually I'd be at the front of the line. Well, the kids here, I'm sure, do not have to experience that because the cashiers are very, very slow. Number 7, this is a quick one, but at parties or get-togethers, shoes stay on in the house. If you come into somebody's house, no taking off the shoes stay on. The floor is going to get a little bit more dirty. I know that back home, if you're entering a friend's house, either for a pre or for a little get-together, you take your shoes off at the front door. Even in Norway, when I was there, I experienced this. There's a big, massive pile of shoes at the front door. Here, different. They keep their shoes on. It's just the culture, I guess. Number 8 is tattoos here are very common, and also they feel a lot more unique. Now, the tattoo culture here is big. I would imagine a reason for that is it's a lot cheaper to get a tattoo here versus back home, but also it's just ingrained in the culture. Now, maybe it's just because I'm in a different place and the style is different, but the tattoos here, they feel a lot more unique. I feel like there's more meaning put behind every tattoo. A lot of people share tattoos with their parents, with their brothers, their sisters, and the placement is often a lot more unique. And guys, finally, number 9 is dogs and pets. If you guys didn't know, Argentina has one of the highest, if not the highest, pet ownership per capita in the world. I think it's like roughly 80% of houses have a pet, typically either a dog or a cat. And having dogs off leash in the streets is no issue here. If your dog's behaved, you can have your dog off leash with no issue. Back home, even with my super, super well-behaved dog, we may or may not let him walk around the streets off leash. And we have people always come up to us, hey, put your dog on a leash. A lot of the time, it's a dog owner walking their dog who can't control their dog, and they're just angry because, you know, people back home are angry. And he says, hey, put your dog on a leash. Here, different story. Everybody has a dog here. Everybody's laid back about dogs off leash, assuming they're well-behaved. And this just goes back to the uptight versus laid back vibes of our countries. And you know what? I'm going to finish off this video here. If you guys liked it and you want to see more, leave a like, let me know in the comments, because I can pump these out like crazy. So let me know. Guys, if you like this type of video or you want to see my daily vlogs in Argentina in my last month here, go hit the subscribe button, check out my new videos. I upload quite often, and I will see you in the next one.